I'm Kimberly with Puddle Jumper Adventures. Today we're talking about our C1 e-bike from Apass. Overall, it's built a lot differently than our A6s because it's more like a mountain bike, and that's basically its purpose for what we're using it for is for our 12-year-old for when we go to Zion. He needed something to ride since he can't exactly fit on the back of one of our cargo e-bikes, and even if he did, it just would not be practical. So he's going to be using this. Overall, we thought it looked really nice, and it's like very high quality for an e-bike. I mean, compared to our cargo e-bikes, we felt like it was the same quality. The only thing that we did have issues with were these tire covers. They're very flimsy plastic, and I don't know if you can tell in the video, but when they came in the box, they were kind of mangled a little bit, so they aren't very straight. But other than that, we're pretty impressed with the quality of the e-bike. Just some differences between the A6s are the display here. It has, so on the A6, it has the pedal assist buttons separate from the display. So that was just one thing that was different, but everything on this bike is on the display. This isn't like the longer range one, so it doesn't have quite as much battery life, but we don't think he'll need that since he's not carrying around a lot of extra weight like we will be. But yeah, so some other things to note are just that we did air up the tires. They were at 0 PSI. The range for the tires is actually 45 to 60 PSI. Actually it's 40. We did 45 just because we felt like that was good. The kickstand is also different from the A6. That one holds it more like a motorcycle, I would say, type kickstand where you kind of sit it and it's even. My guess is just with being cargo, it may be easier to load that way. This one's just like a regular bike kickstand. It's a lot more beefy, I would say, than a regular kickstand. But so just to note those differences. The other thing is that with us being a family using e-bikes, we were really hoping with the charger that they would all be the same across the board. That wasn't the case for this bike. It's a little bit smaller where you hook it in, so it's not something that can be used with our other e-bikes. We would have to make sure we have two of them, even though when you look at the bikes, where the battery's stored in the bike looks very similar to the A6. I mean, right here, you can see it's very similar where it's stored, but it does take a different charger than the A6 is, and we're not really sure why. But that was one downside for us. One cool thing that the C1 did come with is its own toolkit. We had talked about getting a toolkit just because we're going to be doing a lot of riding and we didn't want to be stranded somewhere without tools, because inevitably we'll probably need tools at some point on our vacation. But the C1 did come with a toolkit, and a lot of them were the tools to put the bike together, which I guess I didn't mention that earlier. It didn't, like our A6s, this one did not just pull out of the box. It came out in pieces. So instead of just rolling it out and having it pretty much ready to ride, other than maybe putting on pedals and a bike seat, we put on the tire. We had to adjust the brakes a lot. That was our biggest issue with it, was trying to make the brakes not be stuck on and make that sound, I guess, when you're riding them. I don't know. My husband knows more about that than I do. But anyways, that was really hard for us. He actually had to take over installing it because I was just getting frustrated, and he had more patience with that. So other than that, the install for this was okay. It would have been nice to have just rolled it out like the other bikes. But anyways, back to the toolkit. So inside the toolkit, it came with flathead screwdriver.
It's reversible. It pulls out.
Oh, it's flathead, but it does pull out. My husband just reminded me. So Phillips and flathead screwdriver, which is nice. It came with some different wrenches. I believe it was 3 wrenches. Yeah, so 15, 16, and 8. But they also have the size up on the other end of them. So really 6 wrench sizes that came with it. And it came with all these Allen wrench sizes that you need to adjust any of the accessories or features on the bike. So if you did need to change those later on when you're out, you have them all in this toolkit to take with you. That was really nice. All right, so now we're going to test it out today. It is Illinois, and unfortunately we had 60-degree weather Sunday, and now we have freezing rain on Wednesday. So we're still gonna try and test it out. I will probably ride it on the road. I don't know that I'll let my 12-year-old ride it on the road, but I'll also show how he fits the e-bike because he's a little bit smaller than me. maybe a few inches shorter. I'm about 5'9". I think he's about 5'5". So, and he's weighs a lot less than me. So anyways, you can see that in a little bit too.
There she goes. Oh, and it's got the brake light.
Okay. What was that? Okay, so we just tested it out. I drove it first, then I decided to let him try it. He did okay, so it was fine. But anyways, in comparison to our cargo e-bikes, number one, it goes a lot faster, a lot quicker. So on our cargo e-bikes, it's not sluggish. It just like when you go to use the pedal assist, it kind of builds up and then increases. This one right away, you're like, okay, gone. But, so that's just something to get used to if you were switching back and forth bikes, but it's way lighter than the other one. It goes a lot faster, a lot quicker. So if that's something you were looking for, this would be the better bike for you. But, I also had him ride it, so I'll let him tell you about that in a little bit. But some things that we noticed right off the bat that were the same or different. It does have brake lights. You might see that in the video. It doesn't have turn signals, which isn't a huge deal because we're riding in a group as a family, and so we'll all be kind of together using ours. But, yeah, so otherwise, I thought it was really easy to ride around just like our other e-bikes, and I think it'll be really good for our vacation. What did you think about it?
Well, it was really easy to ride, and it felt easier to pedal faster than a normal bike.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing we did notice still is the front tire. When it came, like I said, we had to assemble it some. It was separate from everything else, and it was kind of zip tied to the this tire cover. But when it was zip tied, it was kind of, I think, smushed in the box. And so we are noticing now that we're riding it, some wave in the tire. We're not sure if the tire's really bent or if it's just kind of where the tire was squeezed with those zip ties when it was put in the box. So that's something we're going to watch as we go on. But yeah, so just keep following us and we'll have some more updates in the future.